Hello everyone and welcome to A Link to the Past Randomizer 2025 Hybrid Major Glitches Tournament. My name is JD Silvergun and I apologize I was running just a tad late, but nonetheless I am here. So looks like we have an exciting Game 3 match between Chexhuman and Tam. And it looks like we already started with a bow, which is a pretty nice item. We get a shovel in the thieves' hideout. Okay, so they both did the sanctuary start, it looks like. Actually, I'm not sure, but nonetheless, we're pretty much synced up. I think I saw pendants at Desert and Hera. The Check's following just a little bit behind, Tam checking the lumberjack. And that looked like a sword to me, so that's a little bit of bad news, depending on how difficult it is to locate those other swords. So both opting for the lumberjack DMA, and we see a moon pearl on Spectacle Rock. No bunny shenanigans required for this race. It looks like we're pretty much got the same idea. The Checks went into the wrong cave, I think. Oops. Checks just wanted to treat us to some lovely beeping, because, you know, Tam also likes to treat us to beeping as well, so maybe they planned it. So, the Graveyard Ledge DMD from Tam. Okay, just 20 rupees, but Tam was broke, so they decided to take it. Now we're stocking up on bombs. Makes sense to me. I was just trying to get chat pulled up here. Okay, so Tam is doing a houlihan by virtue of broken camera from descending the mountain. Check's also going to Graveyard Ledge, stocking up on magic powder in the sunken treasure. That's always nice to have before we get to town. Checks decides to go to Australa's. Tam doing everyone's favorite, the bomb-only mini Moldarm Cave. And we see there is a cape in Australa's, which isn't really relevant for anything, but it could be nice to have. Flippers from the thief inside mini Moldarm Cave. And Tam decides to save and quit. Oh, and I was mistaken. It was Pendant Hera, Pendant Eastern, and Crystal Desert. Okay. And I think that was the green pendant at Hera. Alright, so runner's just trading places here. So we'll get to see what was in the damn chest. I mean, I'm assuming it was nothing, but You never know. Tam is going to check out the inside of Hera, doing a buffer to get the double switch hit of a one bomb explosion. Oh, nothing to do here in Hera. We are blocked out. Didn't even get any items. Yeah, arrows would definitely be nice to have, but it is a bit odd that they haven't found a single 10-pack with all the stuff they've been checking. And both of them did do triples and didn't get any arrows from that either. Alright, Chex showing us some bombs in K45, decides to pick them up. Chex also has no arrows. Blue potion in a bottle in Spiral Cave. Oh, Tam has both the things before going to town, so not gonna have to do any double back once they decide to go there. Right, Chex approaching town from the south. Let me check out the magic bat first. And meanwhile, Tam not finding anything in this paradox cave yet. Now Chex doing a nice little screen wrap to get to the magic bat without using the hammer. Nothing on the magic bat today, and Tam already makes good use of the potion for safety and finds a lot of cash in Paradox Cave. But nothing, that we can use with, any of our buttons on the controller. Alright, Tam going under the bridge. Just 20 rupees under the bridge. Chex gets a heart piece in Chicken Hut. I don't think we've seen anything in this Kakariko yet, although the density is on the north side. Right, Tam setting up a swim clip. Gets it first try, it looks like. Very nice. The well for Chex, getting some rupees. Heart container. More rupees. Heart piece. And finally, a 10-pack of arrows. Tam not finding anything in Ice Rod Cave. Decides to take their 980 rupees to the Zora area. Check the island first, just rupees. We see Bombos in Blind's hut for checks. And nothing else Tam decides to check the refill. It gets a blue potion for the trouble. And even more rupees, just in case you couldn't afford Zora. The waterfall had you covered this time. I missed what was on the ledge. I saw a few pixels of it. It did not look like anything to me, but I could be mistaken about that. If Tam goes for it, well then we'll see what it is. Alright. Just a 20 rupee rebate from the big fish himself. But it looks like our only trackable item from Kakariko was Bombos, so that's... I'm wondering if maybe we were supposed to go into Eastern, or... We haven't seen Desert yet. Or Pod, could be... Although not a lot of it is in Logic, though, without... I guess some of it is in Logic without Lamp, but... The bow could be something. Although, granted, we do have the entire Dark World available, as Tam is reminding us. That looked like a mistake, and Tam decides to save and quit. That's unfortunate. But trying to set up a super jump there. Yeah, you hate to see that, because those extra save and quits, they really are quite punitive in a race situation. Chex also going to Zora. Oh, I think Tam was maybe too far to the right the first time. Yeah, this looks correct to me. Alright, looks like a hype cave play. Alright, Chex doing the Hera DMA and a little bit of archery practice. More arrows from the Hype Cave NPC. Heart container, bombs, more arrows, and rupees. Finding a whole lot of nothing. So Chex also gets the news that we are entirely locked out of Hera. Not even getting a single item for the trouble. Tam into the Dark World proper, taking a look around. Just a heart piece on Stumpy today. Chex more archery practice in Spiral Cave. Alright, 2 digs for Tam, or a heart piece that is left behind, giving us plenty of time to teleport away before the timer. A little surprised they went down. Normally I would do this part first. I don't know, it's just kind of a little awkward. Routing South to North Dark World with no mitts is always a bit awkward. And we see a hook shot in the Mire Shed, so that's an interesting find. Ether, or the Mire entry today. And I missed the map check, but apparently we know that the last pendant today is going to be Skullwoods. Tam setting up a fake flute. Okay, I like this plan. That was a very good way to not have to do a bunch of teleports. Very good routing on Tam's part. So, we are in the fake light world right now, which, for the purposes of checking items, is perfectly fine. But the advantage of checking this way is when Tam does a screen transition, they will be back into the real dark world. So Tam is able to check both villages essentially at the same time this way. Now we see we're getting a quite early castle play from Chex. So we are going to need ether. We haven't found any swords other than the one on the lumberjack. We need Samaria and both rods. And a glove and a hammer. So Tam's gonna get their bombos and all their nothing from town. Checks. Gets 20 rupees in the boomerang chest of Hyrule Castle. I am killing the green guard, which means we're saving and quitting out of here. Probably. Or we're gonna lay 3 bombs. The first sword in Zelda's cell, that is quite a good find, and a place I personally wouldn't have went to until much later. Castle was pretty low density, but it worked out this time. Okay, so Tam continuing the Dark World exploration. Just a heart piece on Bumper Ledge. And heading back to town. Uncle, just a piece of heart. But we have one more check in the secret passage. And we see ethers there, so 2 important items in the castle today. Oh, it looks like we're getting a pod play from Chex. And Tam not finding anything in the village. Alright, nice Kiki skip from Chex. Little bomb clip that lets us, break in here. And just a heart piece in the brewery. For Tam. And Chex remembering to open the door that I sometimes forget because I don't play HMG that often. But opening that door is extremely helpful for routing, saves a bunch of time, not having to get all the keys. Okay, arrows in Thieves Town for Tam. That doesn't have a way to fight the boss, so I'm curious how much is going to get done here. Check's getting a key in the first chest. Tells us nothing. Tam gets rupees and decides to save and quit out of Thieves Town. Okay, so nothing so far for Chex in pod. Oh, a triple key start for pod. And we see a TR climb from Tam, but just crossing the mountain. I like this. It's pretty good density when you have the hook shot. Don't have to worry about hovering. So there's a screen wrap there that lets us sneak into the back door. No glove required. The blue mail for Tam. Art piece. Chex gets the big key of pod on the right side. That was a very nice little one-frame hover off of a hook shot for Tam. I think that's recently... I don't know if it was recently discovered or if people just recently started doing it, but that's a neat trick. Does it save time not having to get the long scroll from, like, voiding out into the pit? Alright, Catfish DMD for Tam. Chex setting up a hammer jump. A little bit of trouble, that's unfortunate. I wasn't even watching the pixels, I trusted Chex. Tam turns down the soggy red mail from the catfish. I think the rupees might be our first actual item in pod for Chex. I don't think we found anything other than a bunch of keys and the big key. And now a compass as well. Tam doing a little bit of unusual routing using the whirlpool, but it works. Okay, so we now have the map in pod as well. We have to start finding some items soon, right? Okay, nope, more keys, just kidding. Okay, bow and pod, very cute game. Okay, so we see Chex gets silvers in the rupee basement. Tam setting up a swim clip, and we have a flute on the pyramid ledge, which honestly don't think that is getting activated or picked up. I mean, they might, but with no glove and no hammer, the value of that flute is not that great. Alright, Quake, which is not needed in Pyramid Fairy. And another blue potion. Alright, Chex, showing us that you can pick up the rock without the Titan's emits if you land on top of it for whatever reason. And Tam does decide to get the flute. I missed the mushroom. I'll assume that was in pod, because Chex was there for quite a while. And we are checking that mushroom right away. Meanwhile, Tam also going to go to pod. And nothing on the mushroom, or rather the powder location. Mushroom turn-in, however you want to call that. Alright, Check's also going for a super jump here. Going to get his lot of nothing out of Hype Cave. Oh, this is this MSU. Well, that is a thing. I think Tam deciding to come here over doing the castle makes a lot of sense. It just happens that in this case, they're not going to find anything. I think, you know, unless Tam wants to go to Eastern, they might have to go to the castle. I don't know, there's a lot of bad options that are... I mean, technically you could go to Ice Palace, technically you could go to, like, Turtle Rock, and not do a lot in either of those places. Skullwoods, potentially, has an item or two available. But it's a pendant and we can't clear it, so this is kind of... I don't know, this seems like nothing is that great of a choice. Chex can decide to go into Mire, but we can't finish it, but I don't know, we'll see what he decides to do. The Chex could finish Thieves Town though, so that seems like more of a place to be. But it looks like we're going in, though. I mean, he is already here, so it does make sense in that regard. Check's getting a friendly reminder that the white sword is very short range. Nice key in the first check of Mire on the bridge for Chex. Tam about to get their silvers. Oh, big key early. Of course, it's a God Mire when we're not go-moding it. Alright, Tam saving and quitting. Start at Sanctuary. I wonder where we're going now. Looks like we're activating the flute. Yeah, Check's going to flip the switch and come back because we do not even have fire source yet. I'm getting a map in the lobby. Okay, just a key in the big chest, and we have one more check before we are locked out of here. Although, being that it is HMG, we could do Swamp and Hera from here. I'm trying to think. So there were 2 small keys in chests. Yeah, so the third one not being available means that Swamp is not actually going to be in Logic. However, Para is in Logic, though. Using the Meyer big key. But we'll see what Chex decides to do. You could still clear Swamp out of Logic. Like, there's nothing particularly wrong with doing that. No, depending on the situation. Tam doing a swim clip to get into King's Tomb, but just gonna find a single arrow here today. Tam, or pardon me, Chex fighting Moldorm. The big key was on the boss. That's not very nice. I mean, it happens though. I missed it if... Okay, Chex did not check the big chest, so... You see one of our items gonna be in the basement today. That's bad news, but continuing on, Chex is gonna go through this wall to enter Swamp. I forgot Tam did not have a chance to do this area because of the fake Light World Kakariko. Not gonna find anything though. Although we still have not seen anything from Desert. That is a place where items can be. Alright, so Chex unlocking Swamp. Gonna reset the dungeon because we were technically still in Mire, according to the game. A little bit curious if Chex ever goes back for that green pendant. So for anyone that's not aware, the crystal that fell after is required. We need at least one of those to do Cold Stare in this mode. So that's a good find for Tam. But unfortunately, I did not see if Tam got 2 items out of Desert, so... And Chex is going back for the green pendant, it looks like, or... yeah. Well, for anyone that is not aware, the crystal that fell when Moldorm was defeated was actually the Mire crystal, because the way the game, you know, thinks that we're still in the dungeon that we entered from originally. But this green pendant isn't Logic, and the Chex and Swamp are not right now, so that could be relevant for decision making. And we see a second sword in Agina's cave for Tam. That is a very good find. So for those that are late tuning in, we know that one of the swords is on the Lumberjack ledge, meaning that, you know, swords are a little bit harder to find than normal. Or at least the ones that we want to get, anyway. So Tam going to the back of Escape. Chex is doing Super Bunny, but we already know this is nothing. So small key in the back, it means that we were not meant to access this without a glove anyway, but... Instead of doing the Dark Cross backtrack, Tam decides to save and quit and approach the castle from the front, which is good because in addition to that sword being in Zelda's cell, this ether that Tam is about to get in the treasure chest is required for Meyer. I apologize for the silence. I was trying to confirm that we're still live, and I wasn't just talking to myself. We've had a couple technical issues, but... And also getting bombarded with ads while trying to check the stream is up is, certainly a thing. Anyways. Looks like Chex is going to Swamp. So, as long as we don't screen transition on the overworld, a flooded state will persist. And Tam getting their second sword in Zelda's cell. And going to break into the portal. Oh, Chex getting horrendous trolley RNG from the mold orb. Just won't let him climb. Ham showing us a nice bomb clip. Alright, Tam entering Meyer. Chex clipping back into Swamp from Hera. Red boomerang in the first check of Swamp, showing us why we have to do this hassle of coming in the middle from another dungeon and unlocking it. Then arrows in the second check, so that's 2 of our 6 items. Ham in Meyer. We know they are not going to find anything, but this will allow them to unlock Swamp as well and deal with Hera if they want to. And we got the bad news from Chex that one of the Hera items is in the basement today, so I don't expect that's going to ever get looked at unless it's actually required. But do not believe Chex turned in that green pendant, even though they did make a special trip to get it. Okay, so just a compass in the south area in Swamp. It looks like Chex is going to investigate the left side. So Tam got a couple junk items out of the front of Thieves Town, but we've not seen the back, which could very well be where the logic wants us to go. 'Cause as I was saying before, this swamp play from Chex, I believe, is not in logic because we only had 2 chest keys available in Mire. And as far as logic is concerned, like, technically there's some stuff in Ice Palace that's in logic. There's some stuff in TR that's also in logic as well. It's not just GT and Skullwoods. And frankly, I understand not wanting to go to a lot of those places. In GT, the 3 checks, like, one of them has to be a key, I'm pretty sure. And no hammer and no Samaria. Although, this mode does like to put those items there for some reason. It does tend to happen. Oh yes, that's right. I'm sorry, my mistake. They did change the logic for Ice Palace. It used to be Flippers plus Pearl would put ice in logic. That's my mistake. But TR definitely has parts of it in logic as well, though, since you can just jump onto the bridge. And yeah, I agree, Pendant EP is atrocious. Okay, so Tam flooding the dam. It looks like we're getting convergence on Swamp, although Check's about to be done. Check's getting some nice double puff, double spins. As soon as I say that, one gets slightly out of range. So Tam deciding to take out Moldorm on the way to Swamp, and this makes sense. Doesn't know that this is not going to be an item, and also it is the green pendant, so... Oh, nice silver arrow shot from Chex to take down Argus. I just bombed, and I don't think we found anything at all in Swamp, which is not terribly surprising, but is a bit unfortunate because Chex went to the left side for a big key that led to a small key that was not needed. And yeah, as pointed out in chat, at least it is a dungeon. That is actually our first crystal at 46 minutes is quite late, I would say. And not that it's the runner's fault, it's just the seed has been kind of roundabout. And it looks like we are getting that green pendant turned in on Chex's side here. This could be logical progression. It's a book. Oh. Oh. Not what Chex wanted to see. So both the swords that they have are in logic, but... Or both the swords that Tam has, I should say. Chex doesn't know that there's another sword in Agina's cave, so isn't actually able to do anything with that book other than scout for information, and he decides to go to Eastern instead. Okay, so 10 arrows, our first item in Eastern. Tam just unlocking the front door of Swamp, very important to remember that. Despite the amount of hassle that is needed to get to that, you know, to be able to unlock it, it is definitely a thing that people have forgotten to do in the past. A hammer in our second chest in Eastern Palace, so that is going to be a required dip. Frankly, I would probably just leave, but there is one more item, and Chex wants to dig it out, which is reasonable. Already having 2 of the 3 items, and then the map as the next one. Yeah, Chex... Alright, Chex agrees. Chex is like, no, I'm not doing all that extra work for one more item, and we don't even know which, you know, check it's gonna be. Could be on the boss, or the big key chest. Well, actually, no, never mind. The big key has to be vanilla, so it's either in the big chest, or the boss itself. So, Chex, deciding time is of the essence, leaves. And we find out that there's a heart container on the Ether tablet today. Meanwhile, Tam just exploring Swamp, heading into the back. Chex going back to Pod with this hammer, that makes a lot of sense. It's gonna be pretty dark in there, but... you know, Chex is probably thinking, you know, 49 minutes in, so we need to start getting some more crystals. So, this dungeon completion is not going to be in logic, but it is required anyway, so definitely an option that we can do. And I think an item has to be on the boss as well because of how poorly laid out the dungeon items were. I admit I didn't actually count, but I definitely did not have a front-loaded pod today. Alright, so Tam into the Argus fight. Just a little bit more forgiving with the Master Sword. Meanwhile, Chex watches a wall move. Alright, Tam gets a crystal. Alright, so it looks like we're back. Sorry again for that. I know nothing about that. I'm not a back-end, like, setup helper. So I don't know anything about that. I do apologize. Alright, Tam gets bombs on the Bombos tablet, and Chex did navigate the darkness, and only getting bombs for defeating the boss as the non-dungeon item. But we do get a crystal, so that is good progress. Alright, so book, not our progression. So it's looking like GT is some amount of density that's in logic, and the whole thing is not going to be in logic. Well, it might depend on the key layout, but we've got GT, TT, and Skullwoods. And it looks like they're both going to GT, although Tam unfortunately did not get the hammer. I don't think they went into Eastern. I don't think they had enough time while the stream was now heading to Eastern. Oh, it looks like Tam got the hammer and then left immediately from Eastern. Check's continuing in GT, and I believe, depending on the key logic, that this part is not actually in logic without all the keys, but I don't know. Could be wrong. And non-key sanity logic confuses me. But for sure, maybe because Samaria is not available, it could be, but we actually don't know if that's true, though. Samaria could be in TR and accessible. Or it could also be in these checks behind Ice Armos as well. And meaning you would have had to go this way first with the hammer. Chex did get a lamp in Rando Room, though, so that puts the sword in Lumberjack in logic, and the pod boss clear that he already did. Not that that's super relevant, though, because we know 2 of the swords are available already. Alright, Chex saves and quits. Didn't really find it. I mean, as horrible as it is, that lamp might actually still be progression. It could be telling us to go back to Meyer to the left side. And Shaq's going to Desert, I think. Just kidding, we're going to town. But for those tuning in late, the glove that Tam has is in the right side of Desert. And that is required because Cold Stare is a crystal today, or Ice Palace rather. Alright, so Check's going to Agina, going to get his second sword. That's a very good news. Oh yes, you know, someone commenting in chat, I should have... I've gotten used to seeing that. I was spoiled from watching that silver strat that Chex did on Ice Armos is actually the vanilla 100% strategy So it's just not often seen because rando people don't usually learn it. But yeah, that was very nicely done. So that was right of you to point that out. I should have said something. We're good on checks for showing that off. I'm just trying to think where they should go. Sometimes I overlook nice little things like that. Oh, Tam, it takes down Helmasaur. No checks, setting up a bomb clip. Yes, that is correct. You cannot, or I'm sorry, you can get into the back of Desert. There's certain kind of clips where if you clip in certain spots, you get a little jump, like a little hop. Sometimes they call it like a dumb jump or a dumb clip. That's actually what people call it, for whatever reason. It's something from way before my time. They started calling it that, but all you have to do is dash buffer into the, like, the slope, I guess you would call it, and Link will jump over the rocks. However, you are trapped back there if you don't have a glove or a flute, so you have to save and quit after killing the boss, but another way, you can also use the mirror later on if you have the mirror. That's another way you could not use a glove there. Alright, so Tam going to Thieves Town, checks into Desert, about to get his glove. Alright, and Tam was here earlier, so just going straight to the back. And checks having that lamp is going to head to the boss here. So that is another. I think there's an item on the boss. I missed it both times, so I apologize for that. Not aware of what it is, so. Thank you for bearing with us. Oh, that is really rude, Tam. Getting the blue cane in the back. So, Tam could have cleared this earlier, we just didn't know. And the amount of blue potions they found as well, like, they absolutely would have been able to defeat this boss earlier. So meanwhile, Tam defeats Lanmo, gets a mirror and a crystal. The mirror in this mode doesn't exactly do anything. I think Mimic Cave is the one place that becomes logically available. It's a very convenient item to have, though, don't get me wrong. It's most people's preferred entry to Ice Palace. You know, because having the mitts is not necessarily a guarantee. Although, as someone rightly pointed out earlier, it is logically required, but we don't actually need it, though. So, Tam defeating Blind. I'm gonna take a bit of a crystal lead here. Checks, going to the back of Escape. And taking the key is gonna make a hike to Dark Cross. And we've actually not seen this yet. I'm assuming Chex knows this is not the map. A Ice Rod in Hammer Pegs for Tam, that is a required item. Oh, good find. Just a piece of heart in Dark Cross. It makes sense why Chex would check that, because having gotten the lamp recently, it could be in logic. I'm assuming the lamp is in logic, but I'm not 100% sure about the GT key logic for non-key sanity. So Tam giving us Spike Cave. It's a fire rod. Oh, both rods and back-to-back checks for Tam. That is something. Alright, I think that's it, right? Yeah, we don't need anything else. Tam's good to go. Or no, I'm sorry, we still need Samaria. Whoops, forgot. Okay, so that's one more thing that we need on Tam's side. So the big key is going to be on the right side, at least I'm assuming, because Chex didn't open the big chest. Heart container in Skullwoods for Chex. Tam gets their lamp out of the left side of GT. And Chuck's probably thinking to go to Thieves Town. Which, yeah, reminds me that Chex didn't do any of this area yet. But presumably we'll get the Ice Rod and Hammer Pegs after Thieves Town. Alright, Tam into the back of Desert. How to get there, Mirror, and Chex heading to the back of Thieves Town. So earlier when I said the cape doesn't do anything, well, I was wrong. Apparently that could have been logic for the fire rod, but Burna also being available. I don't know, I just forgot Spike Cave existed, but it's a good thing Tam did not forget that Spike Cave exists. Because that is going to be required for Chex to go there at some point. Alright, Tam easily defeating Lanmo with the silver arrows. Alright, now officially taking the crystal lead. I was mistaken earlier. They were actually tied. Chex also defeated Lanmo. I was just a little bit mixed up. So, I feel like you gotta do Meyer now, right? If you're Tam. Or, I mean, do you check it? For Samaria? We don't have a lot of places to go. But it could technically be an Ice Palace. Even though, as someone else pointed out earlier, Ice Palace not going to be in Logic without Mitts. But it could just be Mitts are in TR or in Meyer, with leading to Samaria somewhere else. So Tam doing a mirror wrap. It is a little suspicious that there was no item found in Meyer, though. So, like, one of them for sure is on the fire-locked side, and the other one gonna be on the boss. Or not necessarily. But two of the three... Pardon me, sorry, I'm having trouble. So there's 3 checks left in Meyer, but we didn't find either of the 2 items, is what I was trying to say. Anyway, checks. Clearing Thieves Town. And Tam appears to be going back to steal a key. And this makes sense. Alright, Chex is going to Hammer Pegs, showing us the funny auto walk thing, in case you missed it earlier on Tam's side. Vanilla, Big Key, and Ice Palace. Apologize for the technical issues. Check's also going to Ice Palace. I apologize for those technical difficulties and for the silence. I'm just not sure when we're actually back up again, but Tam got back-to-back heart pieces. There might be another item on the boss. Okay. Nice Master Sword kill. I didn't even see what the item was. The stream flickered for a second. But maybe Chex will show us. Or if depending on what Tam does, we'll know if there was anything good. But Chex not stealing a key, having to go all the way around. Okay, it was a small key on the boss. Thank you for that. Alright, so that means they already got whatever the item was. I know there was a small key in iced tea as well. And the big key is vanilla, so... So I think the item has to be in that spike room, and Chex will show us, but based on how Tam's acting, it was nothing. Otherwise, we would not be going to Pendant Skullwoods. Okay, yeah, just a bee in a bottle. Alright, Tam, going to the back first. This is interesting, because I don't think Tam has been here yet. But we saw there was a junk item, like a heart container or something, in like the very front area. Chex. Alright, just a small key under the bridge for Tam, and Tam is going for the boss. Oh, maybe they think this is just better than going back to Meyer or going to Samaria List TR. I mean, all their choices are pretty bad, so it's definitely no judgment for whatever they decide to do here. Chex takes down Cold Stare as well. Keeping it tied up as far as crystals are concerned. Cam gets a nice quick moth kill there. And gets a heart piece, so both the items are nothing in Skullwoods. But Tam does get a pendant, which... I mean, well, will Tam mirror and check the pedestal? It looks like it. And this is a potential location for Samaria, but it is not here today. Check's getting horribly trolled. This is why I hate that bomb clip. There's just so many ways that can go wrong. Like, that particular one seems to be, like, the worst one of the overworld bomb clips, in my opinion. So Check's going back to Meyer. And once again, we've not seen the left side, because both of them did not have fire when we were here before. Alright, Tam gets the second item out of Skullwoods and saves and quits. This looks like TR from Tam. Alright, so just rupees is our first item in Meyer. Check's getting horribly trolled by all the enemies in the seed. Oh, we're not. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I was wrong. I was pretty sure they didn't get any items in Meyer, but Chex was not lighting the torches, so... Oh, maybe this wants to do Hera Basement? That is a check that isn't logic. It's a very horrible check that I forgot about, but... for sure there is an item down there, though. Alright, Tam gets a sword in Mimic Cave and then enters TR via the middle. Chex does battle with flying floor tiles. And just kidding, we're taking a break. Alright, map. In the vanilla big key chest of Turtle Rock. Alright, Chex lighting the torches, gets 20 rupees for his trouble. That's definitely not what you wanted to see there. I'm not even playing the game and that hurts. Ugh, poor Chex. Anyway. Tam apparently locked out of Turtle Rock. Couldn't get to Crystal Roller or get the big chest. Goes to Dark Cross, but we know from Chex that this is nothing. Oh man, is the third item in Eastern really going to be our Samaria? That would be so evil. Because both of them left after getting the hammer, and I said before they even left that that was what I would do too. So let's see. Just wants to be rude. Alright, Chex also getting his sword out of Mimic Cave. Alright, and Tam is going back to Eastern. I think... I mean, this could be all we have left. But so the question is Samaria going to be here, or is it going to be a glove so we can do miss checks in logic? Because there are... No, we've already seen hammer pegs, and that is in logic without mitts, but other mitts checks, such as the smith and purple chest, are not in logic without mitts, but it's still certainly possible to do them. It's just annoying, so it's not usually done. Alright, and we know from the layout that the big key has to be vanilla in this Eastern Palace. Tam doing the hike around to get it. And Chex is also going back to Eastern, it looks like. Alright, is it gonna be in the big chest so we can leave, or are they gonna make us clear the dungeon? It is in the big chest. Samaria in the Eastern Palace big chests. Tam, first runner in go mode at 1:26:30 approximately. That is very rude of the seed to do that. Oh. This is really bad news for Chex, if you're rooting for Chex, because Samaria opens up a lot of checks that we didn't have, and we know that the Fire Rod is not behind Samaria, so I'm calling it that Tam's in the driver's seat here, not just physically ahead and also in go mode, but it's pretty hard to see a scenario for Chex to turn this around. It just didn't work out for him today. Although one thing that Chex does have going for him is that the big key OGT is somewhere on the right side, so Tam is going to do that anyway, presumably. And there's no legal way to skip the GT big key in this mode, so... I just feel really bad that Chex did Hero Basement and, you know, of course didn't find anything there. Okay, never mind. Chex is going directly to Spike Cave, which is surprising. It's still behind by a little bit here, but... you know, sooner is definitely better than later. So that is going to be go mode for Chex at 1:28, just a little bit over 2 minutes after Tam. Tam refusing to give up on Spooky. Oh, nice, getting a rarely seen second Spooky in that room. So for those that don't know, it's a bit more of a process to do Spooky if you don't use the flute Spooky, which we would have trouble doing not having the mids before Meyer. So nice quick kill with silver arrows. small key on Vidi as stated earlier, so we have a Samaria locked swamp, which is not shocking because there was nothing there. Alright, Chex back to Meyer, following just a little bit behind Tam. Well, that means I was right, there was another item, I think, but we're just not gonna see it. Oh, I'm not sure. I could still be wrong, but it doesn't matter. Alright, Tam setting up a mirror wrap. This is a laser bridge entry. Alright, Chex remembering to set up Spooky as well. Alright, so Tam finding small key on laser bridge and decides to just leave with that. So the big key can't be back there, which is why Tam's not opening everything there. And in fact, we know that it has to be in one of the 3 checks in the front. Chex deciding to show us some spins this time. And then finish it off with arrows. Alright, so 6th crystal acquired for Chex. And getting the big key, mirrors back to Laser Bridge, gets trolled by enemy on the bridge. And Chuck's making an interesting decision to go to the front to look for the big key. This might be a little bit faster, I'm actually not sure. But it's... I mean, he does know that it's in the front. It can't be in the middle because he already checked it. Alright, that is 7 crystals for Tam. Just gonna have to go to GT and get the big key and climb. And then, of course, defeat Ganon afterwards. You know, this makes a lot of sense for Chex because with the door already open, Chex doesn't have to save and quit to go to GT. So Could be saving a bit of time that way as well. Although, granted, I'm not actually sure which is faster, but it could be faster. In the 80 RMG speedrun, the saving and quitting to go to Ganon's Tower is slower than what NMG does. Because NMG already has the door open and they can just run over across the top of the mountain. So, but that does not factor in the time it takes to open it. The amount of time Tam took backtracking through the dungeon, so I'm not sure. I want to say that did save a little time, though. It feels like Chex is closer than he was. We can go off of the big key. Okay. 135.48, so Tam gets the big key. Alright, Tam into the gauntlet. Very well equipped. Shouldn't have any issues here. Actually climbing last in this mode is a bit of a luxury. It's certainly not guaranteed. And as expected, Tam having a nice smooth gauntlet, heading into land mode 2. A nice one cycle with silvers and Chex. 137.29, so about a minute 40 behind. When previously he was an entire mire clear behind. I want to say that Chex's route did save time. Opening the front of TR and going to get the big key that way. Alright, Tam lighting the torches, running down. Chex also heading into the gauntlet now. Chex continuing to have atrocious RNG from every enemy in the seed. Maybe not every enemy, but sure, a lot of them, though. Nonetheless. Oh. As Chex maybe is just having a bit of a bad day. Taking a fireball to the face. It's a bit unfortunate. And also, this is pretty nerve-wracking, I have to say. If you're in Game 3 against Tam, that's definitely an intense spot to be when you're climbing GT. Alright, Tam in Aga 2, getting trolled by a little bit of blue ball there. I'm guessing Tam was thirsty or wanted to check the race room, not even going for the climb. Maybe Chex will show us a nice clip. Alright, Tam into the Ganon fight. So Ganon is stealing some lines from a different SNES villain. Tam showing us a very nice tempered 1-1 on Ganon. Alright, Chex across the Moldorm 2 gap into the icy bumpers room, climbing to the top. That was a tight triple from Tam. I wasn't sure if that was gonna work, but it's been very nicely done. Let's get our GGs in chat for Tam. Gonna be the winner of tonight's race and this set. Finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 38 seconds. Very nicely done. And Chex not far behind at all. About to be dropping into Ganon. And we are joined by Tam, the winner of tonight's race. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that was some seed, huh?
Yeah, this was easily the slowest I have ever been while still feeling like I had a good chance to win. Like, I feel like I did things correctly, but it took me 100 minutes. It was just that kind of seed.
Yeah, the seed was kind of roundabout from the start, and the sword on Lumberjack is always an ill omen.
Yeah, these were actually the best swords we had in the series, though.
Oh.
We had some garbage swords.
Alright, well, I missed that, but, well, I'm glad it was an improvement for you then, at the very least. Yeah, I was saying, so Chex actually went to Eastern before you did, and I was saying leave because he got the hammer, but decided to go for the very next one, but didn't get the big key, and then decided to leave. And you also left after getting the hammer, which I agreed with, but then it turned out that the game just wanted to be mean today. And GG to Chex as well, 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 25 seconds. Not far behind at all. And Chex did Hera Basement, by the way, so that hurt my soul. I feel bad for him.
Oh, that does suck. I was pretty sure that was cane locked. Along with a number of other checks, like left side Maya. Because I knew there was a key on Vitreous.
Yeah, I figured Swamp was not in Logic, but, anyways, we were joined by Chex. GG.
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 Chex, I have to ask, how were you feeling? Were you feeling behind when you decided to do Hera Basement?
I guess so. There's so much that happened in the seed. I never felt ahead at any point. Only behind for about at least an hour, so.
It was a rough seed. You actually were the first one to get a sword, but the rest of the stuff just didn't work out for you. It was a pretty rude layout, in my opinion, but...
Yeah,
I mean, you weren't far behind.
I
Sorry,
had the
go ahead.
same I had the same problem making a decision on leaving a dungeon that I had yesterday, which was yesterday I left Escape for the second item, and this time I left Eastern for the second item. So felt really similar to yesterday.
I was just saying to Tam that both of you left after getting the hammer in Eastern, and I agreed with the decision. But it just turned out that it was not the correct decision for this seed. It was pretty rude. Like, Pendant Eastern not only having progression, but 2 progression items seems pretty outlandish to me.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here for the outlandish, crazy things that can happen.
I was actually going to go into Easton earlier when I checked Saha, but I got the book, which made me leave. And then the book was complete trash.
Yep.
You know, it felt like, from a spectator perspective, that like most of the time there just was never a good option. Like everything felt like choosing like the best of like bad choices.
Yeah, that was like so much locked behind the hammer. But then the hammer wasn't even the only thing in Easton, so it was just like there was no real good way to ever do this seed.
Yeah, and that early pearl, free pearl on top of the mountain, like there was no way anyone was going to do an early pendant Eastern in the seed, even with the free bow, I don't think.
Yeah.
I went into pod early, which was a mistake because I forgot I had Moon Pearl. Not that it matters.
It's not like anything was in the Dark World anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty strange seed. I mean, I don't know. Like, there was... If Bombos was in all of Kakariko, like, there was just... It felt like a lot of stuff was, like, so few and far between, but then, like, late in the race, Tam pulls Ice Rod and then Fire Rod in back-to-back checks. It's just like, what is happening?
Yeah, that Ice Rod actually felt like it was a big deal, because I didn't go back to Thieves for so long. Pretty much exactly for that reason. But then, like, it didn't matter, because Kane was awful.
This was
Seems to be-
almost a at least a 145 seed where I would have pulled Pedestal. But the problem with that is I forgot Spike Cave existed. So I was delaying Eastern until last possible location. But it wasn't last possible because I forgot about Spike Cave.
I was just gonna say, it does kind of feel like Samaria has become one of the more common go mode items in these seeds.
Yeah, this again was another weird situation where I got go mode quickly after. I don't remember how it went yesterday, but getting my last 2 go mode items in a row was pretty strange too.
Yeah, it was a
this
kind of a weird seed. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say this. I think this was the only time in the whole series that I got the mirror. It's because it was on Crystal Boss.
Getting the mirror was like so ridiculous. After completing Pod and Swamp and doing Pyramid Fairy, and it's just, what is the point of having mirror anymore? Mirrorless desert. I don't
Made
know.
me waste, well, not waste time, because Mimic Cave had a sword, but I probably wouldn't have gone to Mimic Cave if Mirror hadn't shown up.
Well, so where were the logical mitts, do you guys think, then? Because you guys used the mirror to get to Ice Palace.
Yeah. I really wanted to do
Power?
mids. checks before double dipping Eastern too, but I felt like why not? Let's just see what's there. I don't know.
The top of GT probably. There are 3
VHS.
boxes that were not open, 3 or 4 had not opened. Yeah.
I feel like I did everything outside of GT.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know what's on pedestal.
It was nothing.
Okay.
I checked even though I was pretty sure it was cane locked because I was like, I'd really rather not find out that I'm wrong 10 minutes from now.
I don't blame you. Also, this was a... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
This was a pretty stressful series.
All
And
3 seeds kind of sucked, honestly.
I'm happy to have freedom now, so we have that.
Well, that was going to be my question, since this is the lower bracket, round 5. So you feel perfectly at peace with not continuing the tournament?
Oh yeah, and I couldn't lose to a better player.
You know, I was saying, like, it just seemed like today was not your day, Chex. You were getting trolled, like, by enemy
Today?
RNG, like, throughout the seed. Like, and just, like, so many things. And, like, during the GT climb, I was, like, remarking, like, was such a high-pressure situation, being in, like, a Game 3 against Tam. I don't know.
I felt like I played better than I did yesterday. I have on days and off days, so I just kind of just try to keep it together and just play the game.
Oh, fair enough. I missed the previous games, unfortunately, but yeah, and absolutely, it is definitely hard to, you know, it's a mental thing more than anything. It's really hard to just keep good, you know, calm focus under pressure. But yeah, it was a really good race though. It was close and it was good. And congratulations again to Tam, going to go on to face Krithel in the next match, which I'm surprised Krithel is in the lower bracket, actually, but
I mean, have you
I'm
seen
surprised any of you are in the lower bracket,
Look at
actually.
everyone that's still in the lower bracket. It's a minefield out here. No,
Yeah.
I lost in the first
Yeah.
round to set up the epic lower bracket runs there. To win today.
I mean, that is one way to do it.
No, I expected to lose. It was a fun series. I'm glad to race someone like Chex.
Jeez. And thanks for coming, JD.
Exactly.
Yeah, no problem. I don't know if you guys are the type to watch back the races, but we did have some unfortunate interruptions due to SpeedGaming going offline. But we were
Same
able
as the
to
other
follow
races,
most of what was going on, though.
Yeah, I tried to watch the VOD yesterday, and it seemed to be split, so I didn't really catch everything that happened yesterday. So understandable.
Like I said, we were able to follow most of what was going on, but I just thought I'd give you a heads up on that.
Thank you.
Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, Darkened Sky versus Mr. Buyer. And Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, Malmo versus Spleeby. So, some exciting matchups coming up. And I do not have a general speed gaming schedule if anyone else is curious about any of that, but I don't know, do you two have any other thoughts?
I do not.
Either.
Alright, well, thank you for playing, both of you, and again, congratulations to Tam. We're looking forward to the next race against Krithel as well, and so... Thank you to Other Tom for tracking. Thank you very much. That is a very difficult job, especially when we have interruptions, like I said. And we wouldn't, trackers is the most important job. So thanks again. And that's going to do it for me today. My name is JD Silvergun, and we will see you next time. Thank you.